Heard of the sunset blues.
So, how's everyone doing out there tonight? I'm going to start my video. We tried to do a little bit of intro this week because last week it was an absolute disaster. I tried to do that intro, shika-daka-daka-daka-daka-daka-da, which I hope most of my guests sang along to because that's the whole point of my intro theme. But with Steve Coretta last week, it didn't work, and I promised him I'd just stop doing that. But then the better of myself said, try it again. And and you know what? It didn't work again. And so maybe it's just time to drop the song, Tim. Just drop the song. So my name is Tiki Tim. I have this weekly question and answer interview with singer-songwriters in the trop rock genre from around the country. We're dealing with regional, national touring artists, a lot of artists down in Florida and Key West that are bebopping around the whole southern area of the United States. And this is the second season for that. And we've, what is this, the third or fourth show for the second season? It's usually every Wednesday. We're on Tuesday this week because of some scheduling things. And, of course, this whole video is rebroadcast again with all the trop rock clubs that I know of. And if anybody knows of other trop rock Facebook pages that I could associate with, that's even better. And then it's also rebroadcast as an audio podcast on Shore Life Radio, shoreliferadio.com, with Millie, who's awesome down there, on Sunday at 8 p.m. and then again Wednesday at 3 p.m. They picked up the show. God bless them. I'm not sure exactly why, but we basically take this video broadcast and turn it into an audio radio show. And so it's my privilege tonight to introduce Miss Beth Travers, who's on the show. How you doing, Beth?
I'm doing great, Tim. How are you?
I'm well. I got to tell you that after last week, I was like, I'm a pretty humble guy, but I was like, man, that was a great show with Steve. We were laughing. Everyone's having a great time. Maybe I should have a tip jar and I should charge for this show, right? And I got carried away with it. I'm like, all right, this could work. If 1,000 people watch this, if 100 people give a dollar, I make $100. Well, I couldn't figure out the tip jar, and it doesn't work through Zoom to Facebook Live. So I've canned the whole idea of the tip jar. But I will say this, if people could just send me their positive financial thoughts, that would be awesome. Just think good things. Think good things, right, for you, and we'll be good. So I usually just jump right into the questions, and you've got a pretty incredible biography and background.
Long.
What I try to look for in my interviews is the lesser asked question or the things that are not in your bio. And here's one that I discovered through just a little bit of research about trying to understand who you are as a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
How's the bicycling going, and when are you going to try out for the Olympics?
Wow. The bicycling, I still have all the bicycles, but I'm not getting on them the way I should. So not so hot, but, I've been the time trial champion across Tennessee for like 20 times, beat all women, all ages. Age is the thing.
Hold on. So this is actually a good question. I know you're not on the bicycles right now. Bicycles can be very dangerous. I know that personally. Yeah. I was a paper boy once, and when I was delivering my papers, I lost sight of the cars parked cars in front of me and slammed right into the back of them and went over the top of the hood. So
Ooh.
bicycles can be really dangerous, but I do
Ooh.
ride a bike. In fact, my parents and my grandparents are avid bicyclists in Florida, or were in Florida. Let's see, my grandparents were in Inglewood, Florida. My parents were park rangers in Clearwater, Florida,
Really?
for 20 years. Yeah,
And
20 years.
you said your grandparents were in Inglewood?
My grandparents bought, or at least I think they did a timeshare or something like that. But
Yeah.
when they retired, they moved from Auburn, Massachusetts,
Wow.
down to Inglewood. In fact, parts of her family still live down. We got a lot of family
Yeah,
connections.
we're in Inglewood, so you ever get a hankering to go to Inglewood? This is
Well,
your
uh,
place.
I know, and unfortunately, I tell the story, and they're no longer with us, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
and I wish I knew where they were in Inglewood, but they had a home down there, and this and that, and
Oh, how
so
cool.
there's a lot of connections to Florida. We got family still down in Florida, But you're in Inglewood. What is it like to live in Inglewood?
Well, the climate is fabulous. Inglewood is a little off the beaten trail. So you got Fort Myers below you, you got Sarasota above you, you got lots of traffic in both of those places. And Inglewood's kind of a break between the two. And it's 5 minutes from the beach, and there's work everywhere. Not this last year, I'm just saying. But most of the time there's a whole island with beach bars and lots of music in this town. So it's pretty cool living in Inglewood.
Is Inglewood the Nashville of Florida?
No, but I think there might be a secret portal to draw musicians here. I've always suspected it. Jack Mosley lives here, and I didn't know it when I moved here. Jack Mosley called me up and said, I heard you moved to Florida. And I said, yeah. And he said, where'd you move? And I said, Inglewood. And he said, what street? So he's 2 miles down the road. And Alan Jack Bowers, the drummer, he moved down here. I don't know if you know who he is.
I
So,
don't, but I probably should, and that's one of my questions later. So we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, we got connections to Inglewood, Florida, where you're based currently.
yeah.
But back to the bicycling, because we jumped over that. Now you said and I try to remember things. I'm an old newspaper reporter, by the way, so I don't, I pick up on stuff sometimes.
Right. You
Unless,
grab on.
yeah, unless I'm drinking, and then that's not that's not going to happen. But you said you beat all the women in Florida in a bicycle race, or something.
Well, I raced in Florida before I started in Tennessee, but that was all in Tennessee. I belong to the Tennessee Racing Association, so I didn't race much after that time in Florida. So it was all before I moved down here full time.
Okay, so you got to Florida and you said, "Screw the bikes, I'm done with the bicycles."
Yeah, kind of. Well, I got to Florida and realized that there are a lot of people who are either old people who don't see that well, and then all the other people who are like, I'm a little redneck, so I don't mean it in any derogatory way, but there's a lot of people down here angry because the old people are going slow in front of them. Well, it turns out it's the most lethal state to ride a bicycle in.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
ride less down here.
I think I should probably know that. My parents were down there for 20 years. I mean, they would get on their bikes. They still can, God bless them. They're in their 80s. They
That's
can get on their
awesome.
bicycles and ride like 35 miles. I'm not kidding. At
Yeah,
81
all
years
right.
old. And after 5 miles, I'm like, Dad,
Yeah,
Dad,
that's so
stop.
cool.
It's unbelievable. And so,
That's cool.
well, it's good to hear about your bicycling. We share that commonality. I'm not at that point of my bicycling career, but I do like bicycling. So, tell me about this. Your second CD.
Okay.
You've been floating that recently, and how new is that second CD of yours?
I think last
O-
October, November it came out.
Okay.
So I think I was trying to get it under the wire before Key West didn't happen. Like, and all the deadlines that didn't happen last year.
Well, that you raise a great point. I mean, a lot of artists tried to produce,
Yeah.
compose music during COVID or even before COVID. They had
Right.
albums in the work, and it's like, well, what do I do now? Do I release it? Do I hold on to it? I can't back it with a tour. So,
Yeah.
what were some
Yeah.
of the challenges with like putting out that CD and not being able to do much with it?
Well, the good part is that, you have those live shows. We started doing those live shows. So some of the music is getting out there, but the brakes were on completely as far as doing anything with it except for sending the MP3s out to people. So you really, it's kind of still a new CD because no one's really seen me since that CD came out. But a lot of that was written during COVID. There's a couple of songs on there that are really COVID reflective.
Okay. Okay.
create big words, Dance with Me Down by the Sea was all about something the Tiki Man from Tiki Man Radio said. He said, they closed all the beaches and everything. You couldn't go to the beach. I forgot how bad it is now. Things have eased up. You really couldn't go anywhere. So it was kind of like being stuck in your house using your imagination.
Sure.
Good and bad, Maybe
Well,
people.
I mean, you said it's November 2020 is when you released
Yeah.
that CD, so you were essentially working on it all
Yeah.
during the whole COVID stuff,
Right.
through the spring, through the summer, through the fall.
Right.
And then you're like, all right, I got to release this. Why didn't you wait? Why didn't you wait till now to release it?
Because you just can't. Like,
Okay.
you do all that work and then it's like to just not. I don't know why. Great question. Never even thought of it that way. I more thought of it as at least I'm doing something.
What's
So,
What's the name of that CD?
happiness comes in waves.
Happiness Comes in Waves. Now, your previous CD was it Late
Late,
Bloomer?
late bloomer. Yeah.
Late Bloomer. Why did you name your first CD Late Bloomer?
I had a song I wrote with one of my best co-writing buddies in Nashville quite a while ago, probably more than a decade ago, called Late Bloomer.
All right.
So we thought we were really old, and I liked the song a lot. When I started playing it again, I thought, oh, if I ever do a CD again, or if I ever record, I'm going to name my CD Late Bloomer. And it just got stuck in my head. Because obviously I wasn't, coming out. It wasn't, like a thing coming out in my 20s. So to even put CDs out, I thought, well, okay, I am kind of being a late bloomer.
It was apropos to where you were kind of
Yeah.
at in your life, right? I
Very much
too
so.
am a late bloomer, and so that's why I'm really interested in that title.
I think everyone should be a late bloomer. I don't think not necessarily music business, but that's how we stay alive. You just keep recreating yourself and moving
Wait a
on
minute.
and doing something else.
You just said something that is the best quote that's ever been said on the show. This is the second season. Everyone should be a late bloomer. I've never heard that statement before in lyrics, anyone. That's a
Really?
great statement. Everyone should be a late bloomer. Elaborate on that. Why should everyone be a late bloomer?
Well, I think people go through life and they do this or that, or maybe, some people, not me, God knows, but, people would stick to one thing. And then when you start looking at making changes in your life and doing something different, no matter how old you are, you're always thinking of yourself as old. My son tells me he's an old man. So you always think of yourself as old, and you always think of yourself in that capacity. So instead of thinking like this is the youngest I'm ever going to be, you're thinking, oh, I'm too old to start, be a new person at that. So, which I think is wrong. Everyone should just take off and be a late bloomer at something, whether it's music or whether it's something else, you know.
Okay. I agree. um, Let me ask a different question. When you get into the studio and you record, I don't know how you record your stuff, if you have your own home studio situation or
Yeah.
you go somewhere else. What is your
Yeah.
process for recording? How you total digital? Do you have an analog environment?
No, it's totally digital now, and I love analog.
Why? That was my
I,
next question. Why do
I
you love
hated
analog?
analog. I actually learned to record when there was tape, you know. So there's kind of like a nostalgia to it, and there might be a little warm sound. Digital is so clean and so perfect. It's just kind of different. But by the same token, it's so clean and so perfect, you can really get what you want, and you can work with tools that it just, some of the same mistakes and things are just tools to make it better. So digital is cool.
Sorry, I had to run out to shut my boiler off so that the sound didn't get into the audio.
I figured you were running. Oh my gosh, she's going to talk about that forever. I'll just
No,
go take a
so
break.
Beth, I actually didn't hear a word you said because I had
Analog is warm and kind of nostalgic, but digital is where it's happening. And digital, our ears have changed. Have you ever gone back and tried to listen to a Grateful Dead record?
I have. In fact, I have really strange ears, which is why I wear earphones.
Yeah. So if you listen to that and you realize when they were recording in analog, everything wasn't perfect and everything wasn't perfectly in tune. And now it is. Now your whole listening platform is at a different level, you know, in tune and precision and in time is expected because it's so easy with those tools to get everything right.
All right, so I've been in the studio recently, right? And I see what's going on. I do a little bit of recording, so I understand it. I know a little bit about Logic Pro X and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When the engineers and the producers start getting into, editing chords or editing a bad note or saying, you know what, that snare hits or that snare fill or that ride bell pattern there,
Yeah.
you did it better here. Let's copy and paste that over back here.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Does that take the magic away for you?
It does.
Yeah, I guess because I could see your point on that, especially since you were so specific. You're sitting by drums, so you obviously, are a drummer. And sometimes that ride cymbal, when you think about it, we've recently been dealing with this. It takes an enormous amount of, and I'm just going to throw a generic term out to describe it, bandwidth of sound.
Yeah.
So if you don't need, if it doesn't take up that much space, then it doesn't cause all the other things around it to adjust to it. So I can see the point of what you're saying, whereas if one is clean and perfect, but I have to say that acoustic music is acoustic music, and I'm kind of with you on the other side. Like, I love little imperfections too.
Sure.
Things can be over-tuned and timing can be perfect.
Yeah.
Too perfect, you know what I mean?
When I record I'm not playing to a click. I am. I have my own.
I like that you let it breathe.
I let it breathe. Like I have my own click going.
Yeah.
Just on my iPhone silently.
Right.
So I see a pulse and I see what's happening. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not having to power through the earphones and trying to navigate that because it never freaking works. It never does because everyone's nervous. They're in the studio.
Yeah.
It's a different place than a rehearsal practice spot. It just is. And so it works for me. But I'll just go back to your point. Like when I record or you record, if I mess up, I want to do it over again. I don't want to just copy and edit and paste stuff to fix it. Just redo the friggin' track.
I agree. I agree with that. As a singer, I agree with that. I've gone in and laid down background vocals for people that they did that first chorus and did these lines, and I'm expecting to go through and do them all. And they're like, nope, we got all we need. And I was like, what? You know,
Yeah. I know it's a weird place, and
see what you're saying.
I'm sure I'm talking myself out of studio work by even saying this stuff, but it's really how I feel. It's in my heart. It's in your heart.
Yeah.
And that's good. We share that.
So do you, when you record with people, do you record with the same group of musicians live every time?
Um, why are you asking me questions?
I know, right? That's so inappropriate.
No, it's actually cool. I'm just joking. Um, I didn't say this earlier. I'm the drummer for the Island Castaways band. This is one of their T-shirts for a Haitian relief project. And
Yeah, nice.
Joe Halava, great bass player, one of the best
Mm-hmm.
bass players in New England, uh, brought me on and years ago, and and along with Paul Kane, who helps run that band.
Yeah,
Those are the guys I record with. But I have some other projects. I write my own stuff, and some other folks sometimes want drum tracks, and so that's kind of where I
yeah,
get that from. But it's more just my own recording. There's such a temptation to copy, edit, paste, edit that, bring that over, mask that. It's so easy to do,
mm-hmm.
and the own stuff I'm producing. Oh, I don't even need to play a live drum track. I'll just play this loop, right? That sucks. That sucks. I hate it. I hate that about Logic. Though I got to tell you, my son Christopher's 13 years old, and he is an aspiring rap artist. He's pretty
Yeah,
good. He's written 3 albums, all on his own in Logic, writing his own music, and it's not just loops. He's writing his own
yeah,
stuff. And but there's always a temptation to just go in there and say, "Oh, I like that loop. I'm just going to pull that into my song. I'm not
yeah,
going to try to actually create that in my mind and play it on an audio keyboard or whatever, or on a
yeah,
guitar."
yeah,
And so music has changed so much digitally. Really, you don't really have to play an instrument anymore to create music, and it's hard for the average listener who is not a musician to know the difference anymore. That's my point.
yeah. I totally get your point, and it's so different. It's changed so much, so different. But you asked me how I do it, so I'm going to tell you because
All right.
I'm way more of a like touchy feely songs. You know, I'm more about the words to things, but the words and the music come together. So the music is also a part of the process for me. You know, unless I'm co-writing, and then it's more of a negotiation process. But and then when I have accumulated an appropriate amount of tunes, I go back to Nashville and cut tracks there and use guys that I've known for a long time because I know they're great players. And, you know, I'm a bass player, but I don't even play bass on mine anymore because my chops aren't up. I laugh about it and I say my chop, you know, but my chops aren't up. And I get guys that I've known for a lot of years, and they feel like they're investing in it too, and they work well together. They record all the time. They're on current hit records by a million artists, you know, that I won't try and try and name off. So they think
That's
faster.
awesome.
They think faster in the studio than I would as a musician, and that frees my brain to think as a producer, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And to get inside the mind of a producer is an interesting thing that we haven't explored before. Um, I had a recent studio experience where we recorded our parts, and the engineer suggested a whole guitar solo that
Mm-hmm.
we or members didn't really think of, and I was a little shocked at first. I was like, I haven't really experienced that before, but that engineer was getting into almost being a producer
Right.
in a way by saying, "Hey, I like that what you're doing in that part of the song, but think about maybe moving this in this direction." Is so. What is a producer? What do you do?
Oh, wow. Good question. Um, So you hear things, there's things going on in your brain, and it's harder to produce yourself as a singer-songwriter because you're so stuck on what you created as the singer-songwriter. I know my voice knows how I want that song to sound, and so it's actually easier with somebody else's. But I can do it with mine too, and I usually co-produce with mine. My husband's a great producer as well. So we listen, and he says, "Oh, you should do this," and I go, "Oh no, unfit the song." But it gives me an idea, and like you said, add a whole different dimension to it. Like say, take the song and go to a 3-flat chord and do a screaming guitar solo that's out of it, and then back into the song, or something interesting like that you wouldn't think of. Most of the time it's being true to the song and coming up with the right intro, the right voicings on the right instruments to make the song sound like what it's supposed to sound like.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair answer, but not a but as an addition to the discussion, right? You help run MFG Records. Is your role in that organization from a producer standpoint? Tell me about that.
So it was created as a partnership, and yes, it was created for and with a producer standpoint in mind. So everybody that's come on to MFG Records is getting, co-produced by us so far, because there are people interested now in being involved with it that have their own production in place. And we're not necessarily looking to be busier producing more people. So it might grow past that at some point, but it really was more of a producer's baby. You know what I mean? Just
Yep, sure.
You don't want to waste your time in life waiting for some record company to use your skills. So you build it, build it. You build it and they will come.
Sure.
And
You mentioned your husband's a producer. Is he involved in MFG? Talk a little
yes.
bit about what he's doing as a producer.
So we co-own MFG, and we co-produce some stuff on MFG, and he produces some stuff separate from me. He's actually got I've got a lot more live music background, playing for artists or being a front person in a band, or, being on the road. And he's got more of a studio background, or I think actually he loves it more than I do. Like, I really love the creative part, and I can sit through a lot of it, and I have great ideas. I'm great at producing people's vocals and really making them think about how that it comes out to fit them. And he's the guy who can sit in front of that console over there 14 hours doing the details, which to my mind, I love him for it, because to me, that's doing the dirty work. But someone like him, they just love every bit of it, every track like that.
All right. I mean, that's amazing. I'm going to make just one small point. You didn't tell us what his name is. He's going to give you a hard time later for that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, he will. He will. His name is Dave Sines.
Dave Sines. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I haven't interviewed a lot of producers lately. By the way, I am for hire. I do drum tracks and have played in studios for
Okay.
25, 30 years, whatever. And I got great ears as a drummer.
Awesome.
I will move on though. Who's the favorite? Because I am a drummer, and so this has a drummer element to this show. Who's the favorite? Who is the most favorite drummer you've performed with live, or I'll add, given your recent answers, produced?
Okay, so, can I have both questions?
Yes.
So the first question, ones that you performed with, because I've had some really good ones. Like, I've performed with Nigel Olsson, and I've performed with Gigi Gonaway, who was like Mariah Carey's, and it was just like playing bass with those people. I had a great time. I've worked with some really great drummers in Nashville. So a lot to be thankful for there. You can sort of, you know, name them off. But then on the other side, what I'm doing now and producing, I have a couple of drummers in Nashville that I dearly, dearly love. So Pat McInerney, he's very well known for doing a lot of acoustic stuff like Nancy Griffith and seldom seen. So many big people he's played with over the years that he's British and he's just got the coolest style. And then Freddie Satterfield, who's my drummer of choice for my tracks in Nashville. But there's a guy down here, Alan Jacks Bowers, who's very into the trop rock scene, and we work with him a lot now. He is the coolest dude, and he's in Inglewood.
All right, so let's stick on the drummer questions. You just rattled off like 10 drummers. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think drummers deserve more credit.
They do.
Why
do
you,
stuff they carry?
why do you like Satterfield so much?
Okay, he's very, very thoughtful. So I like him that much because of the way he approaches my music. And he approaches it with a sensitivity and an intuitiveness that I really appreciate. And when he's done, he's got cool chops, and I'll hear him reacting to things in the lyric, and there will be little things that you don't even get all of at first. So he's a very, I would say, very intuitive, obviously all the things you need, like great time, great tone, and all that stuff. A lot of experience, but he's just got great chops in a way that fits my production, if that makes sense.
Oh, I get it. There's songwriters, drummers, and then there's not songwriters, drummers. I was told once I'm a songwriter's drummer.
I believe you. You're a
songwriter. And I'm also, well, a lot of people tell me that the songs I write are for like children. So it's, let's not take it too far.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
My songwriting transcends the K to 9 market, but let's move on. I really appreciate the drummer questions. What did you sing and play before trop rock? Before you became a trop rock artist, what were you doing as an artist?
Okay. I kind of liked country folk along the school of thought of like Emmylou Harris, Linda Ronstadt kind of music historically. And I got into country music in the 80s when everyone was going disco. So I learned a lot of that stuff. And as a songwriter, I started in New York, or, BMI in New York was the closest place. So I was working the New York area before I moved to Nashville. And I had a band that went New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. The band was doing great, but more and more, they wanted like you to be sort of a country jukebox, and I wanted to write stuff. And so finally, I went to BMI one time with a song, and they're like, well, we like your stuff, but you don't really belong here. You should move to Nashville. Would that be a problem for you?
Let me ask you as an add-on to that answer. I mean, what are you like as a band leader? Are you a hard ass or?
Yeah. I'm sorry to say, yeah.
Awesome.
I admit I had to lead bands after the one, I left my own. I divorced them and left them each other as the children.
All right, we don't need any dirty laundry on this show.
Moved off. I don't want to say what they used to call me, but it was the band something that had to do with, a German political party from the 40s.
So it didn't end well. It sounds like it didn't
No,
end
no,
well.
no. We're all great friends. It ended well. It was more of a joke that I
I
was
get it.
a
I
little
get
bit of
it.
a yeah.
So you're pretty down to earth. You're low key. Uh,
I'm easygoing.
I know you are, but let me ask. I want to stay on this question for a second. Like, and
Okay.
this is part of my frustration than anything. Do you get frustrated when you have a rehearsal and people show up and they've been playing these songs for years and they're forgetting the chord progressions to them, and it's like, hello, we've been playing the song for years. You should know the chord progressions and the lyrics to these songs. You've been playing them for years.
Would I get frustrated? So when I took a straight job, I got out of music for a while. I was writing songs in Nashville for some of the publishing companies and fronting bands. I played bass for a living, so I played for a lot of people, and I would do whatever. But I went and took this other job, and when I moved back to Florida to Inglewood, I met these two lovely ladies, and they said, "Let's form a trio," and it was called the Shark Sisters.
The
The,
Shark. Wait a minute. It was
the
called
one
the
lady,
Shark
really, really cool.
Sisters. That's a
Yes.
cool name. I like that
But
name.
I shouldn't have told you the name because now I'm going to tell you why I'm not a shark sister. Because I was so practiced at being a backup musician in Nashville. Literally, I can walk in and write a chart of your song and chart out what the drummer's doing on it and chart out what the changes are and come pretty close to playing
Okay.
that exact
So
thing.
I'm pressing pause because I love that answer right there. So you have the ability, the musical innate
Yeah.
ability to chart out notative wise music.
No,
Oh,
no.
what do you
We're,
mean?
we're talking about the Nashville number system, and I'm only a
Oh, I
bass
know the
player.
Nashville number
So
system.
you're making it sound much more impressive than it is by saying notation, because I don't sit down and write out
Well, hold
notation
on.
unless I
So
need a
the
figure.
Nashville number system is based primarily upon sequence and changes in the song, both
Sure,
from a chord progressive standpoint and verse, chorus, and
sure,
bridge, right?
sure. Right,
Okay.
right. So I can write all that out on one piece of paper. If it's not too complicated of a song, I can usually do it in one take and then go back and get the figures of how the bass player is playing with the drummer as far as what the kick drum's doing and stuff.
Yep.
So I was used to that level of playing. And when I got to these girls, every week it was like, well, let's rehearse. Let's rehearse. And we rehearsed, and I'd write myself notes, and we'd show up and we'd play, and it would be nowhere near. Like I was the only one at that rehearsal, apparently. It
All
was
right.
it was over and over. So yes, I did get
So
frustrated.
there's a lot of frustrations there. Now I'll remind you and all our viewers, I don't carry liable insurance on the show, and so be really careful of your answers, because
Yeah, so that
I
that
could
band was
I could lose my home, and it's not a big home.
Yeah, I understand. So change the name of the band and protect everyone to protect the innocent.
That's right. That's
But
right.
but yeah, I could get a little frustrated, and that's why most of my gigs are solo gigs now. So
Well, that was one of my questions. You read my mind. No, I'm not kidding. Is why did you
nobody
move?
loves me.
Why did you move? Why did you move from band to solo artist? Well, you've kind of already answered it. I guess I'll follow up the
Oh,
question by saying, how are you enjoying being a solo artist now? And like as a solo artist, right, when you go and play out, particularly the bigger venues, and you're playing a lot of venues, if people check out BethTravers.com, you'll see she's very active and she's got a lot of upcoming gigs all over the area where she lives in Florida. Um, but to the point, like, how are you dealing with that transition, that thing that we are talking about? I just forgot the whole question.
yeah, I'll be honest. I never did a solo before. I did that band thing. I've done duos and trios. I've worked with a 17-piece band with a 5-piece horn section. I've done all these things, but I've never been a solo before. And until I backed out of that other thing,
Yeah.
I have never tried it. And it's the most fun ever because I can keep the show going at my own pace.
Okay, so when you play out solo now, right? That's
Yeah.
primarily how you're playing out.
Yeah.
Do you bring any kind of technology with you? Do you have a backing track? Are you playing some drum parts through a DAW? Or are you
No.
just playing
Yeah, no.
just guitar, strumming a guitar and singing?
So I'm not using like a drum processor, but I have a pretty complicated looper, and I have tracks saved as one shots in there. But I would say a large part of my show, it's girl and guitar,
Okay.
and I use a vocal processor. I don't overuse it, you know, but I have that extra voice for dynamics, and then I have, you know, the capability of doing some of my own things. Some of them I mix down tracks that sound more like the tracks I make inside the looper.
Yep.
So everything has kind of the same dynamic level, but I can actually do some of my more complicated tunes. Like I have a swing tune that's, you know, meant to have a whole big swing band. And so I'll have a little bit of backing so that I can play lead and stuff.
Well, as my son says, I should turn up pitch correction to 120%.
I don't think I have any pitch correction, but when you use a vocal processor for harmony,
Yep.
you learn to really listen to your pitch. You know what I mean? Like I mostly only always have a voice underneath me when I'm using harmony. One or two or three songs, I'll use a little more than that because there are songs like that were Crosby, Stills, and Nash or something, and they have layering.
Sure.
And it'll be a little more complicated than that, but it really is taxing on my ear because if you wiggle, all the voices wiggle. So they're not controlled by any electronics. They're actually my voice coming in at a different pitch. So I have to be super careful about pitch.
No, I can understand that. I mean, my singing's like the British television show The Wiggles. So
The Wiggles were cool.
they were cool. I mean,
Yeah.
when's the last time anybody, you know, watched The Wiggles on television? It's been probably 5 years for me.
Gosh, I didn't even know where I knew that from, but all of a sudden I have memories of the Wiggles.
Well, I celebrate their entire catalog. I really do. The Wiggles are the best. We tested this out earlier, and I'm hoping this works. But Beth has agreed to maybe play a song for us, an original off her newer album. It is her new album.
Yes.
And,
So it's as good as it gets.
And what are you going to play for us, Beth?
I had no plan. Hold on a second.
That's the best plan.
I had no plan. I'm going to play a silly song because we were talking about being stuck in during COVID.
All right.
And Jimmy Buffett was an influence to me. I was a fan a long way back. And when I got into playing tropical music and really almost all tropical music, I started to think of him in terms of that he'd really been my center point on getting started there. So I know there's a lot of really good tropical artists, and I'm really starting to love a lot of them. But when I was writing this song, it just popped into my head. It was really silly. He's got a song called Migration from a long way back. And in the last verse, he says, if I ever live to be an old man, I'm going to sail down to Martinique and buy myself a sweat-stained Bogart suit and an African parakeet. And I started to think about when work stopped last year, I thought, I want to go to Martinique. I've never gone. So obviously my second thought was nobody wants me in the airport. So this is what came out of that, thinking about Jimmy Buffett, and if he'd really sailed down there, and I did too. I spent a month in Martinique Martinique last weekend. I sailed in to look for some fun. But I'm a peregrine bikini with no butt cheeks on a beach with a bar that served rum. Enjoying some time with my island peeps and parlez-vous in beaucoup de français. To an old singer with an African parakeet and a pontoon from the USA. Between the salt and the lime, there in three-quarter time, he told me his musical tale. And I spent a month in Martinique last week, and with the tropical Holy Grail. I spent a month in Martinique last week, and by a seaplane in the transient slip, playing a steel pan band, and my feet caught the beat, and my heart is still dancing to it. Well, a lot can be done on a very short run, migration, vacation, or change. And I spent a month in Martinique last week, and my life will never be the same. After a month of sun and rum and a month even come Monday, gotta rock and roll. I'm still on tropical time in Havana, daydreaming, staring by a Caribbean soul. But when the first coral reefers your Tiki man teacher, your compass will never go wrong. And I spent a month in Martinique last weekend, and it's how I got the words to the song. Between the salt and the lime, there in three-quarter time, he told me his musical tale. And I spent a month in Martinique last weekend with the tropical Holy Grail. You ask me how do you spend a month in just one weekend, defying loss of space and of time. It takes a pirate with a mess of mescalita, tequila, and a guru who can open your mind. But when the first coral reefers your Tiki man teacher, your compass will never go wrong. And I spent a month in Martinique last weekend, and I sailed away singing the song. Between the salt and the lime, there in three-quarter time, he told me his musical tale. And I spent a month in Martinique last weekend with the tropical Holy Grail. There you go.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So why did you write that song?
Oh,
What was
You
the
know-
inspiration?
well, one was his song, but then a lot of it was just, I was thinking, I want some more things that are about the tropics, and I really did have those, thoughts about wanting to go to Martinique, and I thought, well, that tropical Holy Grail part just came out in the flow. I didn't plan that. I was just sort of messing with the words and the thing, and I thought when the end of the line, I had no idea what was going to come out of my mouth, and it's a tropical Holy Grail, and I thought, Beth, you can't say that. Jimmy Buffett might not like being called tropical Holy Grail, but then again, he might.
One will never know, really.
We probably will never know.
Do you want to play another tune? I mean, we got all the time.
You have time?
We do have time. Though I have more questions, so I don't know how much time you have.
I like questions. Questions are fun.
All right, so I got more. Just know, coming up after this next performance by Beth Travers, of course, at bethtravers.com, you can find all her information about her tour schedule, about her new release, everything going on with Beth. Just go there. We're going to have more questions, including the Jimmy Buffett trivia contest. Take it away, Beth.
Oh, nice. This is Happiness Comes in Waves. Happiness is like the ocean. It's always been there. It's all around. You can sit here on the shore and look, or stick your toe in and never drown. And when it comes to this metaphor, I hope you go for full immersion. Maybe with the right information, you book a full excursion. So here's the new skinny on the beach in grace. Happiness, it comes in waves. It comes in waves. So follow me for the full plunge under, drowning in laughter and sparkling with wonder. And bodies surfing for days. Happiness comes in waves. Yeah, happiness is like the ocean. It's still a mystery, still untamed. You choose it, it's your decision. It might look risky, the choice you make. But when you ponder the alternative, don't take too conservative a stance. Liberate your state of mind and float above your circumstance. Because here's a new skinny on the beach in grace. Happiness, it comes in waves, comes in waves. So follow me for the full plunge under. We'll be drowning in laughter and sparkling with wonder. Bodies surfing for days. Happiness comes in waves. Overcasting off of the shore with reckless abandon. So fins up every mermaid, fins up in every merman. Because here's a new skinny on the beach in grace. Happiness, it comes in waves, comes in waves. So follow me for the full plunge under. We'll be drowning in laughter and sparkling with wonder. Bodies surfing for days. Happiness comes in waves. Happiness comes in waves. Thank you.
Happiness comes in waves. I'm a big believer in that.
It does. Look behind you. I mean, are those waves real?
No, this is actually a green screen
It's so cool.
studio.
Like,
Well,
my,
I told Steve last week, Coretta Changes in Latitudes, I interviewed a great guy, that it took me 6 months to figure out how to even do it.
it's awesome.
It's, a lot. But let's move on. So you can put that axe down. You're a great player, great vocalist. We all know.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. I'm great at neither, but I sure try hard.
Well, you know, might be embarrassing. It was for Steve last week because he didn't do well on it. But this is the Jimmy Buffett Trivia Contest.
Okay.
Here we go. These are rapid fire questions. You have 10 seconds, if not 5, to answer correctly, or we move on to the next question. Agreed?
Okay. And no phone.
And no phone. I didn't even think of that.
No phone. I got no phone.
Hold on. I'm adding that to my phone.
I'm a troublemaker, I guess.
Exclamation mark twice. All right. Here we go. What is Jimmy Buffett's age?
Ooh. 78.
What is Jimmy Buffett's boat? What is his boat? What's the name of that boat?
Oh, living and dying in 3/4 time. No idea.
How many houses does Jimmy own?
5.
All right. So all these previous questions, I'm cool with. You know, they're tough questions. I don't expect them. I do expect all of my guests to know the answer to this question. Who
Okay.
is Jimmy Buffett's drummer? Longtime drummer, forever.
I know that one.
Oh my gosh, here we go again.
I can't think of his name. Where's my phone? Call a friend.
All right, so let me be. I'm. No one's watching this show from the Jimmy Buffett world, but Roger Guth is
Oh,
Jimmy Buffett's longtime drummer. He's been with the band since the 80s. He's been with Jimmy since the 1980s. He's actually a major force in Nashville and puts out albums with Peter Mayer by himself. He actually recently put up a series of jazz fusion albums, which I appreciate as a jazz drummer.
cool.
So he's not just a drummer, he's a songwriter as well. Roger Guth. Everyone say it. Roger Guth.
Roger Guth. I got it.
All right.
Who played harmonica? Fingers Taylor.
No one remembers the drummer. I know. Who's the steel guitarist for Jimmy Buffett?
Doyle.
You know that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody knows the guitarist. Nobody knows the drummer.
Well, that's because we know him in Nashville. Doyle does different things, and produces and yeah.
What does Doyle do for you down there? He's a great guy.
Well, he's a steel call now, but he has done different things. So
He's a sweet man. Definitely a rare gem, for sure in the industry.
I wish I knew more of those guys better. You know how you travel in different circles, and some people's bands and some people's you don't. And I never really knew many of them, unfortunately, because I was such a fan.
It's a new segment to the show, and I got to tell you that last week Steve Coretta did awful on it, and so you actually did better than Steve. So let's move on.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay. All right.
We talked a little bit about it, but like when you go to write a song, right? Where's the inspiration come from? Is it a lyric? Is it a riff? Is it both? Is it one or the other? Or how do you write a song?
Okay. So I've done a lot of writing, so all professional writing, like sit down in a room with other guys aside, because that way we would either start with a riff or somebody would come in with a hook. Sometimes the hook doesn't just happens, like I said, that Tropical Holy Grail thing came out at the end and it was like, oh, did I say that? I was only supposed to think it. So when I'm writing by myself, I generally have an idea that I'm trying to get, and I try to let the idea form in my head for a while before I sit down and play the guitar and let it flow.
So you sit there and you think about what you're actually going to play on the guitar before you play it.
Well, I want to marry the feel of the song to the lyrics. So if I'm writing a song, for instance, happiness comes in waves. I don't want it to be a dirge. So, it'll tend to pop out with words, and sometimes I have to put it down and start all over. I wrote Caribbean Sea'n twice because I liked the hook Caribbean Sea'n, and I had an idea, and I so overwrote it the first time that I actually threw it out.
How did you overwrite it?
I tend to get wordy, and I tend to want to like milk out every cool aspect. Like Caribbean Sea'n is a pun on the word sea. Like I'm Caribbean Sea'n you and me together, but it's spelled sea like the ocean, like the sea. And I tend to my brain gets overly busy trying to come up with every cool idea that fits in there. And that's a bad thing for a songwriter. So a lot of songs get edited way down or chucked out. And the second time I sat down to write it, I kind of understood what I was trying to say, and I just made it super simple, and it was much better. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I
So,
do.
and I came up with, a kind of a lilting, old time, like shaggy, kind of a early Beach Boys kind of melody, because I wanted it to be playable, like for just a romantic beach tune. Rub up against each other and dance too.
Joe Trapini, who's a songwriter, has been on a lot of radio stations, Radio A1A, and a lot of different stations with his music.
Yeah,
Told me something once, and he's trying to be a trop rock songwriter. He's not trying to be a star. He's trying to write songs for trop
yeah,
rock artists.
yeah,
Great
yeah.
guy and a great songwriter, Joe.
I love his stuff.
Yeah, he told me once, and I suck at songwriting. I'm trying to do a better job at it, but I'm newer to trop rock songwriting. And he said, Tim, stop releasing drafts. Start releasing when you're ready to release the song.
Yeah.
Stop like pushing it out there before the song's ready to even be released.
Yeah, and I'm also a little guilty of that. I've learned, even though I used to have other people to moderate this for me, so that a lot of songs sitting in famous publishing houses and things but since I started writing for myself, I got really easy on myself for a while. You know what I mean? I didn't sit down and do just what he's saying. And then I went back and I was listening to another songwriter, and he goes, well, I just do it over and over again. And until I take out everything in that song that sucks, the song isn't done. And I was like, oh, that's it. It's like, like however many years later, you can still learn it over and over again. They used to call it keep it simple, stupid, but it's like, oh yeah, until I go out and take everything out that even mediocrely doesn't belong in there or isn't as good as it could be. This is so easy for me to do co-writing with other people. Like, such a good editor. I can sit down with someone else and say, that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could just say this by saying this, and it's way better. But it's so easy on someone else's. But a lot of this stuff, I sit down and write it by myself, and I just got a little too easy on myself. So what you said is great wisdom.
It's not from, trust me, it's not from me. It's from Joe.
I like Joe Trapani's music a lot. I always tell him that, because I really do appreciate good Nashville songwriters, having been there myself, and I still go back and co-write with people and play writers' nights and stuff, but non-trop rock. But
Well, I got to tell you, Joe wrote a song really quick. I wrote a song once. Joe, he'll tell me when he doesn't really dig it. Right.
Yeah.
But he's like,
Yeah.
he was like, Tim, he called me back when I texted him this song idea. And he's like, Tim, I like that idea. There's songs that you should pursue and there's songs that you should just drop because they're not going anywhere. This is a song you should pursue. I really appreciated that
Yeah.
advice from him.
Yeah, it's very good.
Great guy. Listen, let's move on. More questions. These are kind of rapid fire question portion of the program.
Okay.
Give me 5 places to visit in Florida and Key West that you love.
Okay. So Key West, Mallory Square. I mean, how can you go wrong? In Florida, gosh, there's so many nice places. So Inglewood is one. Minnesota Key. So you got to come here. Arcadia, Florida. Central Florida. There's no beach there. There's this river called the Peace River. You got to go there too. I'm at 3, right? Amelia Island, North Fred Wonderland.
That's 4. That's 4. Give me one more.
That's 4? Okay. I'm thinking of my favorites. St. Pete. in and around St. Pete Beach is just beautiful too.
All right. This is another rapid fire question, and it's a one answer. What's your best gig ever?
That is like the hardest question anyone's ever
Okay,
asked.
then I will precede it by what's your worst gig ever?
Well, sometimes it's the cold, or
Yeah, yeah.
Those are so hard.
All right, we'll come back to those.
Okay, all right, come back.
No, that's perfectly okay.
The best gig is the one I'm going to do Saturday, because it's the Waverly Restaurant on Inglewood Beach, and when you're right across from the sunset on the beach, it's so
All right. Well, talk to me about Waverly Beach Restaurant. Is it a generational family restaurant? Have they been around a while?
No. They've only had it a few years, because I
a new joint,
something else before.
new joint in town.
Pretty much, but very good. Very good.
Okay, so you're there as a solo artist this Saturday.
I am.
At what time do you go on at?
6 to 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you gonna play?
Everything.
So Beth, when you design a set list, seriously, you're sitting down thinking about, I got to play Saturday at this place. What's your set list like? What are you putting on that?
A lot of times I'll be pulling in. I have new songs of my own. I just have 2 co-writes with Alvy King that I just finished recording. And so I'm really digging those. So I'll play those. And then I have songs that I learned helping Rudy do his album release, Rudy Cox. And so I'm probably going to play a cover tune of Rudy Cox's, but not one that we produced on the last CD. Last Call. I'll probably play that. I probably will play a Kenny Chesney song, because I hadn't been playing it until I had to play it with him the other night. But other than that, what you just said about create your set list, I won't even have one.
Really?
Yeah, I will just get up and I'll just watch the people, and what they want is what I'm going to play.
Okay, let's stay on this. This is interesting. So, what do they want? I'm at the bar. I've had I don't know, 3 margaritas, and
It's time to play you a tequila song.
And which one would that be?
I don't know. Tequila makes her clothes fall off. I'd probably play, or one of mine. And
Sure.
And if you've been at the bar that long, people want to hear a little rock and roll. So we'll do some things that they can boogie to a little bit. I don't know. I know a million songs, not a million.
So you read the crowd and you see what they're responding to. That's smart.
And I try and move fast enough that they don't have time to think what they want.
Yeah.
I try to get to it before they start rallying around going, do you know some Neil Young? Which I do.
I love Neil Young. Now, listen, a lot of people don't like Neil Young, I found, particularly up here in the Northeast. I'm, of course, from just outside Boston, Massachusetts. We got friggin' 6 inches of snow like 3 days ago.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it sucked big time.
Oh.
I blew out my lower back shoveling that snow. I'm just recovering from that.
Dang, I'm sorry. That sounds just cold.
Well, it was bad. And as I told my wife, part of recovering from an injury is not recovering from the injury.
Oh, I think that makes sense.
It does. It's kind of warped logic, but it actually works.
It's good logic. Yeah.
All right. We agree. So my next question is, what do you do beyond music and bicycling? What is your life like?
I don't remember. If anyone watching knows what I did besides music and bicycling, please put it in there now. Please put it in the comments section and let me know. No, I really love to travel, so I've taken some jobs that I get to travel. And
okay, hold on. Where'd you go? What'd you do? What was the job? What was
I worked for the American Red Cross in service to the armed forces, which is just basically traveling as mobile staff in service for active duty military.
Oh man, you just answered one of my other questions. Was what charitable pursuits do you have in your life? And
My whole life has been nonprofit.
okay, how so?
I'm kidding around. You know, when you go to work for things like that, you don't make the high income that you would make if you went for the for-profit corporate world.
Never.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Well, Shore Life Radio, of course. I just want to tease it because I'm supposed to, and I love Millie down there.
I do too.
They picked up the show, and this same show will be in kind of edited in an audio podcast format this Sunday at 8 p.m. for anybody that didn't listen to it or wants to listen to it again, and then next Wednesday at 3 p.m. So you got that to look forward to. Yeah.
All right, if you're watching, yay, Millie Marie Taylor.
I mean, it's like 8:30. I have lost track of time. I don't even know how long this program's running for, but we've had a great show. You've answered a lot of great questions, Beth. But I have to ask you, and again, I probably will have a tip jar on the replay of this broadcast. Just blow it off. Just send positive financial thoughts. Send
positive financial thoughts.
That's all. But no, please know, everybody on this show, this show actually takes probably 5 to 6 hours to produce every week between the video and audio stuff, blah, blah, blah. So if you find it, you can, whatever. But
support Tiki Tim.
It's hard when I could sit here and play the drums, and no one wants to hear a drummer playing his drums. So it's tough. But my question, and I ask all of my guests on the show, is, listen, this last year has been horrid. It has destroyed artists' lives, either temporarily or even permanently, has destroyed their livelihoods. Same to be said for clubs and musical venues all across our country. And so I'm a little bit older, and I start to think about, I'm a drum teacher. I teach a lot of young kids how to play the drum set. I start thinking about them. And some of the kids that I've taught are actually starting to enter the music market, which I find really awesome and encouraging.
Yeah.
But they're entering at such an unsure time right now for a whole host of reasons. And every guest I ask this question has great advice and wisdom to share, and usually it's different from everyone else. What can you tell me, my younger self? I just graduated from Berkeley, or I just slung a guitar over my back and decided to start scheduling some gigs down the Eastern Seaboard. How can I survive and make it in this really unsure industry right now?
You have to be really secure about the area that you're in and build your little area. So you don't think too far ahead about what you want to be. Think about what you do and making sure that you do what you love. So that's my advice. Don't let anyone tell you you can do something better or you should go do something that makes more money. Do what you love, stay in it, find your niche. And then we used to joke about it in Nashville, or being songwriters or musicians. We said, oh, we signed the paper. So we'll learn to live within those means and in a serious way. So, and that's everything. If you can live where you're doing what you love to do and you can make enough that you have a comfortable life, then you've got life made. You must have really hated my answer.
Chicken Tired of the sunset blues. That's when I met you. That rainy kiss at the bookstore cafe. That's when I knew you were for me. You want a lover that doesn't leave you straight. Well, baby, I'll make you a believer down by the bay. I'm shedding this shell for a new way. So let's launch the dove and make love. Renew an old romance and let's dance. Loving the sunset moons. That's where I met you. No more regret or losing bets. You're my queen without the mean. Stroll the beach at night to find a hidden wave. Time will only tell if we got love to save. Sails are blowing in the west winds out on the outer cave. Can't you hear me calling? Can't you hear me calling? Can't you hear me calling? Oh. Instead of the sunset blues, now I'm loving the sunset dunes with you. With you.
Yeah.